You can see all the northern leaders who could not talk when Buhari was there. You can see how they are now breathing down on the neck of Tinubu. Unfortunately, his kinsmen cannot even rise up to the occasion. Because when Buhari was there, he was the one that created this problem for him. Everything that Tinubu is doing in office now was created by Buhari. Meanwhile, nobody has been able to call Buhari out. That is why I'm worried. I am so, in fact, I'm disappointed by northern leaders telling us that they have been cool, this and that. Why did they carry that be cool when Buhari was there? Look at all the things Buhari did in office. Esther, don't look at, you can see that.
There's always balancing between North and South, Muslims and Christians. And Yar'Adua was a Northern Muslim who was the president. And he took over from a Southern Christian, Obasanjo, who ruled for 8 years. So definitely the Northern Muslims wanted Yar'Adua to at least do 8 years before he could come back to the South for another, probably a Christian, to take over. But well, the health issue came up, and it was the problem. And that is why even to allow me to act was an issue. When Yar'Adua was going for the medical checkup, actually a letter was written. Of course, the Constitution says that for the Vice President to act, the President will send a letter to the Senate and the House of Reps, informing them. That letter was written, but the person who the letter was handed over to, I will not mention the name to you now, was one of the aides of Yar'Adua, refused to submit the letter to the National Assembly. And Yar'Adua became so ill that he had no control of issues. So we had the country where the president was not available and there was no acting president. Yes, as a vice president, you can take over the responsibilities of some responsibilities of the president. You know, the president of Nigeria has two main responsibilities. First, you are the chief executive of the country, just like a prime minister of a country. That the vice president can assume, you don't need any transfer. And I was doing that because we're having an executive council meeting, we're approving memos from ministers, so the government was going on. But there was no commander-in-chief, which is the second responsibility of the president of Nigeria, besides being the executive head of the country. And there's nothing like acting commander-in-chief. Either you're a commander-in-chief or not. But when you become an acting president, you are at the same time a commander-in-chief. So that was lacking, and no country allows that gap. A country like America, you don't allow that gap at all. Yes. If American president wants to, even if it's a whitlow, that he require anesthesia, that he will be off for 5 minutes, he will hand over to the vice president. Yes. Before that procedure. Immediately he regained consciousness to take over. But we stayed for some time. And that led to what they call the doctrine of necessity. When the National Assembly felt that the country was in a situation where it was not expected, they now have to initiate this doctrine of necessity, and they now made me to act as the president without the letter from Yar'Adua. So the country was tense. Yes. And under this North-South divide, Christian-Muslim divide, it was really tense. And every day I was hearing about coup. I remember one day, I will not mention the names of some of my friends, came to look, Vice President, that time I was not even acting. They have not even moved the doctrine of necessity. I was still the Vice President. No, you don't have to sleep here. You have to come and sleep in my guest house, and so on. I said, no, I will stay in the State House. If anybody wants to kill me, it's better you kill me in the State House, so the Nigerians will know that they assassinated me in the State House. They know I have not committed any offense. If I decided to go and stay in a guest house, and wherever I'm going, security people would know. And if people go and kill me there, they will now say Indian girls brought apple to kill me. And I wouldn't want those kind of story. But if they assassinate, it's better that I die here in the State House than being assassinated outside the State House, because all kinds of stories will come up. So that was how tense it was. And to me, I was not bothered. Really, I was not bothered. And I was very calm. But that was the scenario.
Well, 2023, I was consumed with the fact that there was an agreement between North and South that the North should have power for 8 years, the South should have power for 8 years. And I ran under that canopy. And then we produced a Southern president. However that came. In 2027, it is a different ball game because we are now in the half of the match. If you say you want to bring another Southerner who is not Tinubu to come in, the North will say he's going to spend 8 years. And then that will still breach the agreement. And now that Tinubu is incomparably bad, would you say you give him another 4 years? That we will continue to sink, according to World Bank report, into further poverty and misery? Now, if you get a Northerner who will commence a rule in the middle of the game, would you say that if he spends 8 years, it has not become injustice? It will. Now, if you are in a coalition democratically, how do you choose somebody that will be acceptable by all his colleagues? These are very tough issues. And what I have decided is that, look, there is 4 more years that is remaining. Because we may not be able to choose anybody by selection and make the person to have the buy-in of all the other contestants, let there be an open primary election between North and South in a coalition. Whoever wins should agree to do 4 years to compensate for the injustice that will be meted out to any section. If another Southerner who is not Tinubu wins, he must say that he will do 4 more years to complete Tinubu's regime. If a Northerner wins, then let him do 4 years so that it will return back to the South. Because that is the only way that we may be able to stop this government that has become incurably bad. According to John Locke, when a government becomes destructive of the fundamental human rights of the people, they have the right in a social contract to alter the government, to change it or abolish it altogether. This government needs to be changed, and you have to give in something in order to get something. So basically, that is the only justice of the situation that I have seen. Where did I learn this from? I learned it from Tinubu himself. In 2015, Tinubu sided with the Northerners against Ruben Abati's principle. And the South, they were pleading, let them complete their term. But Tinubu, out of self-preservation, out of the below-come philosophy, he said no. He aligned with the North and chose one of his own to be the vice president. He preferred the power going back to the North rather than remaining in the South.
Welcome back, my people. No say all of una must have watched the video and listened to the issue we dey face for this country. Though it don't take we dey normally know say na sentiment and many other things na make this country dey behind till now. Now, no say when this person was in power, when Buhari was in power, where things were hard, some persons from the South were complaining about what Buhari was doing then, but people from the North then they were not saying anything because it is their own person that was ruling then. But now where this issue now is coming, when Tinubu dey now, they are coming to complain that Tinubu doesn't have this, Tinubu doesn't have that. It's not as if, okay, me that is talking now, I am Tinubu supporter. I don't like Tinubu for once, but even through day we go talk now waiting we did for. You see all this North and South of it in where we see they normally come out every time no one talk truth, but it don't see way this thing don't make us go behind, but we don't know. If you look at the first guy will be saying talk Rufai, he talk and say Tinubu no get results, he no go school, he go school. But when Buhari bin dey, he never see anything like that. Say Buhari no good this one, Buhari no good that one. There was a time that people were even saying that it was not Buhari that was even ruling Nigeria then. It was an Oyibo man who came from another side that was ruling according to the rule modern, but nobody come out to tell us the truth until Buhari finish his own tenure and Tinubu came in now. Now they are trying to see that okay, what Tinubu is doing is not good based on see Tinubu no to give them permission to do the thing wey be say they do for this Jonathan regime. Now no say this Jonathan wey be say him talk him own talk for here. I don't hear how like the thing will be saying make and drop for them to rule because of the way they were killing and buying people. Then that was why he dropped out for them to rule. That now it's in talk and they coup against him from both the south and the north that he make can come down make person will be say one rule. I don't have anything to say concerning that again. My own talk now concerning this matter be say if he better southern and no come out, people like Peter Obi no come out, there's no way anybody go vote Tinubu out. Now wetin we get to talk. If they want make Tinubu come on, make they bring a better person wey be saying if he take this country to another level for us. Now wetin everybody dey fight for, no be all this time wey be say they do their agenda say dem go gang up against this one. That's not what we want. And for those of una wey be say una get anything wey be say una wan talk concerning this, make una drop una own thoughts for inside comment section. And also if na today be una first time, make una like, share, subscribe. Thank you.